Wanita Thongvian visited Panransit Hospital with chief complaint of leg pain for several days. Dr. Mrs. Jung Thomas Hanaron made a routine outpatient consultation, including review of her medical history.
Hi, nice to meet you. What brings you here today?
Hello, doctor. I have a leg pain for a week.
Oh, so could you describe your pain severity? And could you tell your pain is intermittent or constant?
I don't know it is constant or intermittent, but I feel so hurt while I'm walking.
Okay. So do you have any other chronic illnesses like diabetes or asthma or like heart disease or any other?
Yes, doctor. I have asthma for a few years.
Okay. So now you're taking medicine for that?
Yes, I have taken asthma inhaler.
So do you perhaps have like any drug allergies or something?
I have never experienced drug allergy before.
Okay, great. So now let me examine you.
Okay.
So after examining, we found out that you are diagnosed with tendinitis, but don't worry too much. We're gonna treat your pain with medication, and I recommend an injection that should relieve your pain like very quickly. So our nurse will take care of you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so could you give this patient iron tableau? And let's observe for like a few minutes in case of adverse reactions. If she doesn't show any reactions, she may be discharged.
Do you feel any pain, itchiness, or difficulty breathing?
No, I'm good. I don't feel anything.
Okay, so you have no allergic reaction, so you can go on now.
Okay.
The patient received Daiglo injection and she was observed for 10 minutes, during which she appeared stable. She was discharged shortly afterward. After she arrived back home, and 30 minutes later, she struggled to breathe, lost consciousness, and collapsed. Her sister brought her to Fractive Hospital close to their home. Her blood pressure decreased and got calmer, and she was subsequently transferred to the Panransit Hospital and admitted to the intensive care unit. A brain X-ray was taken on July 26, 2017, and revealed brain swelling and brainstem death, and she died on August 12, 2017.
Court is now in session. This is the matter concerning the tragic death of patient Ms. Wanita Thongvian. The plaintiff alleges the medical negligence against Dr. Mrs. Jutamas Hanarons. So, attorney from plaintiff's side, you may now present your statement.
Your Honor, my patient clearly stated asthma in her medical history, but the doctor gave her the diclofenac injection. This drug is known to cause severe adverse reaction in asthma patients, but the doctor discharged her only after 10 minutes of observation, which in fact, according to the professional standard of care, the adverse reaction of the diclofenac appeared within 10 to 20 minutes, and this directly caused the patient death. We request the court to hold the hospital and doctor accountable.
Attorney from doctor's side, you may now state your response.
Yes, Your Honor. The patient was stable at the time of treatment, and the injection was given according to the professional discretion and the hospital's protocol. And the medical council had already cleared our client of any professional misconduct. And the doctor was fully aware that the patient had already had a history of chronic asthma, and the doctor had medical knowledge that diclofenac injection might trigger adverse allergic reactions to the asthma patient. But here's one thing. Since the patient had been administered with diclofenac intramuscular injection and shows no history of adverse allergic reactions before, the doctor just did the routine treatment for the sake of the patient's improvement. Now, the court had to consider whether the hospital and doctor breached their duty of care and whether the harm caused was qualified as medical negligence. Lower courts initially ruled in favor of the doctor. Then, the Supreme Court had to review the case and consider the evidence more thoroughly.
After careful consideration of all the evidences and prior rulings, this court finds that Dr. Mrs. Jutamas Hanaron failed to meet the standard of care required as medical professionals. The action that the patient pain was not severe enough to give the diclofenac injection, but the doctor proceeded to do so. Most importantly, she didn't give enough time to monitor the patients. This directly resulted in the patient death, so the hospital and doctor are jointly liable to provide the compensations to the family for their loss. Court dismissed in favor of the plaintiff. In this case, we can clearly see the medical negligence because the doctor had a duty of care towards the patient but failed to act according to the professional standard of care. The patient had a history of asthma, and diclofenac is a drug known to potentially cause the bronchospasm in asthma patients. This risk is preventable, so the doctor should have avoided the duty or at least monitor the patients longer than just 10 minutes and after injection. So that failure to monitor is considered a breach of duty, which directly caused the patient death, showing the causal link.
Yeah, that's one is case for under the civil liability, and Thailand Tort Law, Civil and Commercial Code, Section 420, it states that any person who causes damage to another through wrongful or negligent action must compensate for the harm. And the Supreme Court used this civil law. They examined the situation and decided that the patient death was caused by the doctor's failure to follow proper standard of care. And the main purpose of the civil law is not to punish the doctor, to make the family receive compensation for the loss.
What's important is that even though the medical counsel cleared the doctor, the Supreme Court said that medical ethics alone cannot shield a doctor from civil liability. The medical counsel considers ethical violations, but the court examines legal liability under civil law. So they looked at 4 elements of negligence, which includes duty of care, and the second is breach of duty, and the third is causation, and the last to be in damage, and found that all 4 were present. Therefore, the doctor's failure to wait long enough after the diclofenac injection was legally considered breach of professional standard of care.
And another key point, both the doctor and hospital are jointly liable under Section 425 of the Civil Code. Employers are liable for the wrongful acts committed by their employee during their professional duty. Since the treatment occurred inside the hospital as a part of the routine healthcare services, the hospital must share the responsibility. So that's why compensation was ordered to be paid by both the doctor and the hospital.
So in conclusion, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of patient family because the incident satisfies all 4 elements of medical negligence and a tort law, and the risk or adverse reaction was foreseeable, but the standard of care was not met. That's why civil law was applied here. Compensation was granted despite the medical counsel clearance.
Okay, so now let's talk about our recommendations on how medical negligence like this can be prevented in the future. So I think the first step is better history taken. For high-risk patients like asthma, doctors should ask clearly about allergies and previous reactions to drugs. Even a simple medical history or online record could save a life. Also, for drugs like diclofenac, there should be a mandatory observation period, which means that not just 10 minutes is not enough, but we need 20 to 30 minutes according to the medical standards.
Yes, hospital must follow the duty of care from the legal perspective. So to prevent the negligence, medical staff should follow the standard protocols and also document in every step. If something goes wrong, clear documentation helps both the patient and the hospital. Also, the patient should be informed about these rights, and they have the rights to request the medical record and seek the expert opinion if something feels wrong.
In addition, I think hospitals should improve the system, like example when a high-risk patient alert in hospital database, asthma or allergy history is entered in the data, and the system warn the doctors before giving the contraindicated drug like the NSAID, and also multilingual consent form and post-treatment follow-up course can reduce the rate. And education campaign for patient awareness are also very important.
As a summary, this case involved medical negligence after diclofenac injection was given to an asthma patient. The 4 elements of negligence, duty of care, breach, causation, and damage were all present. The medical counsel cleared the doctor based on the medical ethics, but civil law applies a different standard. The Supreme Court focused on the legal liability, not just medical ethics, and found that the proper monitoring was not done. Therefore, it became a civil liability, and compensation was ordered under the Thai Civil and Commercial Code, Section 420 and 425. Hospital and doctor are jointly liable because the hospital employs the doctor and must ensure the standard protocols. Criminal liability was not applied because there was no intent or recklessness, just only negligence. Recommendations were made for the prevention, better history taking, monitoring time, digital alerts, patient awareness, and legal documentation.
So our final message is that when medical ethics are not enough, civil law steps in to protect patient rights. Prevention and standard protocols are the main key to avoiding future cases.